Country.
Well, I can't really see the photo. They also have between Russia and Ukraine's NATO facility.
And we are live. Larry Johnson, my good friend, how are you doing?
I'm back. I'm here. I'm good.
Great, great, great. I think you would be, astonishing today, just like our friends in, going to Kiev in the train.
Oh, yes. Riding that train high on cocaine,
Man,
Yeah,
what's wrong with those people?
Yeah, or maybe they could play Ozzy Osbourne's Crazy Train,
I could hear that in my mind. I
Yeah.
could hear that in my mind. Alex Cristoforo kind of I've been thinking about that. The photo shoots that they took on Kiev, that was, I remembered something. Alex Cristoforo kind of resolved the mystery. It looks just like Friends.
Yeah, one of the publicity shots for Friends. Yeah, I saw him talking about that, and I think he's right.
Also, the one in the couch where
Which-
they are
which-
calling Trump.
Which is an indictment of Alex. It means he's watched way too much television.
That is true.
Instead-
That is true. But it's amazing because you look at these people. Yeah, everything looks scripted by a bad TV show. Well, Friends was a good TV show, but a bad script writer.
Yeah, there's an idea. Bring in Larry David. Maybe it would improve the EU's prospects in negotiating a settlement. Okay, at least it'd be more entertaining.
That's absolutely correct. That's all. Yeah, but this is a joke. Those people are a joke. All these things are just lame. But in the end, it is a big subject because they gather all together, to do whatever. And in the end, they came out with an ultimatum to Putin, to Russia. And Russia promptly answered that. And, Putin did a very well structured answer to that. But I preferred Medvedev's one. And it's basically the same, but Medvedev just wrote that in a way that Europeans could understand, that they could just pick up this ultimatum and,
Shove
put
it.
it where. Yeah,
Shove it where the sun doesn't shine. Yeah.
exactly.
Well, they were supposed to come out with their with the sanctions last night, and they didn't. Now they're saying, "Oh, end of the week." So they're just flailing about like a fish out of water.
Yeah, there was some interesting comments that they did about Trump's posts, just saying that those posts kind of wrecked the mood of our ultimatum, very strong ultimatum. How do you see these dynamics now? Because it's so weird what's going on. Trump at some point it looks like he's going with the Europeans, and then he comes back, and then he talks to Putin, and then something happens. How do you see this happen now?
Well, there's Putin's pursuing two tracks. Track number one is the military operations, which are continuing, and they are accelerating with each passing day. They're grabbing more and more territory. They are literally a half a kilometer, and this was like 2 days ago, half a kilometer from the border with Dnipropetrovsk. So once they get into Dnipropetrovsk, they'll be able to roll across the plains pretty quickly and just gobble up large expanses of territory. But that's not what this is about. This is not about territorial conquest. Putin wants to deal with the root causes of this conflict. And the root causes are real simple. NATO expansion. That's the only way to describe it. And Ukraine is merely a pawn of NATO. Ukraine has been a de facto member of NATO since 1997, at least 1995 before that. And with each passing year, the NATO's designs on Ukraine were to figure out, to build it up, to increase its capacity for lethality, and then to provoke, which is what happened, a war with Russia, in the false belief that they could defeat Russia. Now, Putin therefore says, okay, let's we'll meet. Happy to meet with you in Istanbul. No preconditions. Then we can talk and figure out if we can find a way to a ceasefire. But I think he's doing that more to play to the global South, to China, India, South Africa, to say, look, we'll try a negotiated solution, but be aware everything we try, these guys aren't cooperating. So, Zelensky at first said, I won't go, or I'm going to go, but if Putin's not there, I'm going to walk away. Well, they can play all these games they want. Lavrov is going as the lead negotiator for Russia. And, that man's no pushover. He's a hard man, a smart guy, and a cultured diplomat. So, he's going to, we'll see if there are any talks there. Now, supposedly Witkoff and Kellogg want to try to butt in on that. I don't think the Russians will let them. They'll say, you stay out. The reality here is this war would not be happening without the United States' involvement. We're the ones that provoked this. And now we're trying to pretend like, oh boy, we don't know how this happened. Jesus. We got the gasoline can in one hand that's empty. We got the torch in the other that we set fire to the building. And we're telling the fireman, God, I don't know how that place caught on fire. It's awful. We're the goddamned arsonists in this.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can even find in the middle of this fire, you can even find some passports there. Almost for sure.
Yeah. So this is, but the United States has been doing this all over the place. It's like I was just watching Trump in Saudi Arabia going, oh, bombing's terrible. We shouldn't have these bombings. This is awful. Then why are you giving all the friggin' bombs to Israel, you idiot? God almighty. I mean, he pretends like he doesn't know how some of this stuff happens. God, look, how'd those Houthis get blown up? Who did that?
It's amazing because it's absolutely true, all that. Every day I look at some news. I cannot go all the news, but I go to Trump's Truth Social, and I'm like, what is this guy even talking about?
Yeah, no,
and he's using
it's creative writing, fictional, a lot of it.
and he used caps, caps lock. That's annoying. That's very annoying. And I can see that. Oh, this guy's screaming or angry at something. I mean, let's move away from it. I'm tired of seeing these guys doing all those stuffs. Larry, moving away a little bit, India and Pakistan. They started a war. They ended the war. Nobody knows how it started, mostly.
Well,
Nobody knows how it ended.
You're wrong at your opening statement. They didn't start the war.
Oh, yeah, right. Okay.
This was provoked. The terrorist attack that took place on was April 22nd in Pahalgam. They want us to believe that just this radical Islamic group on its own decided, hey, let's go over and kill all these tourists. And maybe that's what happened. But you can't rule out the possibility that Western intelligence was done with the encouragement and support of Western intelligence they keep their fingerprints off of it. But once it's carried out in order to provoke the escalation that did take place, and we came to the brink of nuclear war between these two countries.
Yeah, but how it ended? This is because yeah, I could understand. I think last week we even talked about this. That looked a lot to me like people showing a show of muscles. Yeah, we're still here. Perhaps remembering the word. Yeah, we are powers. Be afraid of our nuclear capabilities. But then out of nowhere, things started to de-escalate. It looked to me a lot like they were talking to each other and getting some things. But then Trump said, come on, again, I'm talking about Trump. Then Trump said that, he had a call and spent the entire night talking to the people and that they would stop the war. And yeah, the war stopped. What was the participation? Was it because the readouts from the Pakistani foreign ministry and the Indian foreign ministry basically does not mention Trump whatsoever. How do you think this took place, or did it took place or not?
Well, I have no doubt that the United States tried to intervene behind the scenes as well, but can't rule out that Russia and China were also involved with talks. Russia has great influence with India. China in the past has had a lot of control over Pakistan, as has the United States. But it is, it's typical of Trump. He likes to take credit for something that he may or may not have had really anything to do with. Again, it goes to the heart of his insecurity. Just like with the Houthis, he declared, they capitulated. And the New York Times came out with the story confirming what I had said at the outset was they didn't capitulate. This is the United States declaring victory and running away, which is exactly what happened. So the good news right now is this, I think Pakistan and India maybe come to realize they were being used as chumps. This was entirely a provocation designed to weaken BRICS and to create chaos. But fortunately, it's been put to bed now, it looks like. This will happen again. It's not the last time.
Yeah, I was just seeing some images today on Libya, some stuff happening on Libya. I mean, there's always some stuff happening on Libya, but it looks some fun about to happen there. Just came to my mind one thing. This provocation and this mess between China and Pakistan came just around the time of Victory Day. Just came to my mind that there was Victory Day these days.
Yeah. It was about a week, but it was 2 weeks before.
Yeah, it was 2 weeks before. Actually, during Victory Day, I was checking on Jai Shankar's Twitter account, and during Victory Day, he was on Russian embassy, celebrating Victory Day, and then later he was on the EU. I don't remember which EU country embassy, celebrating Europe's Day. So yeah, as long as there's party, the guy's on it.
Mm-hmm.
Good for him.
Yeah, the European celebration should have been on the 8th. Maybe he was...
No, because there's Europe Day. It's on 9th. Europe Day. They created this day. It's Europe Day.
Oh, okay.
This is something new for like 1 or 2 years, I guess. So at May 9th, it's Europe Day. Wow.
Okay.
Okay, so moving forward, I think the since we talked about Trump in the beginning and now, I think the biggest subject on this week, I would like to know about the Trump position with Netanyahu and Israel right now, because there's a lot of things, a lot of fog of war going on. And, people say that Trump's going to recognize Palestine, and then the spokesperson said that's not the case. And then a lot of things comes out saying that Trump is about to ditch Netanyahu and Israel on its own against the Houthis, which I thought they had lost, as you mentioned. So
Well, look, this is the equivalent to say, before you met your wife, let's assume that you were dating somebody else, and uh, you know she starts going out seeing other guys, but she still tells, "Oh yeah, no, we still got this special relationship." But she's out to dinner with him, doesn't tell you about it. She's out to the movie with another guy. At some point you gotta say, "Yeah, maybe this relationship ain't so special." And that's what Trump is doing right now to Israel. Um, Trump hasn't sat down with Bibi and said, "Oh, Bibi, I think we need to start seeing other people." But it started with demoting Pete Hicks, demoting Michael Waltz, shifting him off to UN ambassador. And again, I'll be surprised if Waltz actually gets into that position. They'll probably name somebody else, because the confirmation process for him, I would think, would be pretty brutal. But why'd they get rid of him? Well, because he was conspiring with Bibi Netanyahu to push Trump to go to war with Iran. Then you get the Houthis, where the United States cuts this deal with the Houthis without talking to Israel or telling Israel in advance. And in fact, the deal is with the Houthis, you don't shoot at us, we won't shoot at you. And if you want to shoot at Israel, be our guest. Yeah.
fair deal.
Houthis go, yeah, that's fine by us, man. We got no beef with you, per se.
Per se, yes, per se.
So you've got that. Then you've got Trump authorizing Witkoff and whoever else to talk directly to Hamas. And they negotiate the release of the one U.S. citizen, dual U.S. citizen, U.S. Israeli, this kid named Dan, who'd been held, since captured on October 7th. He was a military guy, though, so he wasn't some civilian. This is a military guy taken hostage, which is, hey, all's fair in love and war. Well, Trump didn't tell the Israelis about that either. And they've been leaking information to the press showing that Trump's pretty angry with Bibi Netanyahu. And those stories are showing up in the Israeli press. So, it appears to be a genuine rift. They may not be going to prom together.
Which is very interesting, Larry, because right now, I mean, we're not only on a crazy train, but we are also in a crazy roller coaster, as it looks to me. Which, by the way, did you know that in Brazil we call roller coaster montanha russa?
Montanha
Russian
russa?
mountain. Yeah.
Oh, really? Didn't know that.
Yeah, that's the name.
Montanha russa.
Like the Russian roulette, but with a mountain.
Yeah.
We've been talking, since Trump got to office. We have ups and downs. Some weeks we say, "Oh, looks all right." Some things we say, "Oh, things are looking terrible." Some things we say, "Yeah, meh." I've seen some things varying. I read some things from people that I respect a lot this week that I was like, there's a point there. Trump is kind of talking about war, but at some level, some things are happening in the background.
Right.
How do you see this? Oops. I lost Larry Johnson. Is he okay? Okay, he's
Sorry
back.
about
Okay,
that. Don't know what happened there. Just disappeared.
Yep, popped out. Poof.
Yeah.
I thought you had hanged in my face. Poof.
Yeah.
But yeah, so my question would be, how are you analyzing Trump in the middle of all that? I don't know if you got the entire.
I didn't get the first part. What, in the middle of?
Okay, so we've been talking about this. Some weeks we say it's okay. Some weeks we say that Trump is doing a terrible job. Some weeks we're like, But I've been reading some very interesting. Do you need to get that?
Uh, I have no idea what's going on here. Yeah, can we pause for a second?
Yeah, sure.
Just,
I'll just
okay.
wait a bit, guys. We're coming back.
All right, we'll go back on.
We're going back now. Okay, guys, just the schemer calling Larry Johnson, and we're having
Yeah,
fun.
yeah.
All right.
Well, when the scammer calls in, just tell them that you're having sex with their mother. That'll usually get them to hang up.
I should start doing that. I should start doing that. All right. So,
Sorry.
what was I talking about? I don't remember.
Oh, we were talking. We
We
were talking
were
about
talking about Trump.
Trump. So, I, I know I completely broken you up here. Sorry about that.
The answer was so genuine.
Yeah. Oh,
Right. I was asking about this emotion of roller coaster emotion. Trump is doing all right, and then he's doing terribly bad, and then it's
well,
boring right now.
it's interesting. The piece I wrote last night about we're seeing this. Trump is taking credit for man. I beat those Houthis. Man, they capitulated. No, actually, you retreated. China, man, I got them right where I want them. They came in, they were begging for a deal. Actually, you called them. You're the one that blinked. And China came and said, "Yeah, we'll talk. We're not interested in a fight, but you still got these tariffs." There's a whole lot of spin about, man, aren't we doing great? Yes and no. It may not be as great as they like to pretend. So. It is, history's going to look back. Trump's an unstable individual. That's the best. But the reality is, we've actually not had a stable, sane person in the White House for God knows how long. Maybe George H.W. Bush was the last one. But, Clinton, frat boy, he was reliving the JFK dream of seeing how many women he could bang. And George H.W. Bush was just getting led around by Cheney and Rumsfeld, starting wars that we didn't need to start. Then you get Obama, just as bad, provokes, supervises, he's overseas, he's in charge of the Maidan. He's in charge when they do the Stuxnet's cyber attack on Iran. And he gets the Nobel Peace Prize. Then you get Trump, and then you get Biden, and then back to Trump. I mean, it's, what a history. When the historians look back, they got to look at this and say, what the hell were these people? Was this the result of drug use or what?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just it's crazy.
You know, yeah. Go ahead.
No, I just said Trump. There's something. I voted for the man. I mean, I'd much rather have a Trump than a Kamala Harris. But he's sitting around talking in this monotone like I'm Rain Man. It is very good to get some inflection in the voice. Have some, some passion, some thought. And a lot of it's just repeating it. One of my friends believes that he does that because he's just trying to dumb it down to the lowest common denominator. Maybe that's his purpose, but boy, you're not going to see any clips of Trump on YouTube that will compare like with John F. Kennedy's inauguration speech. Bear any burden, very eloquent. Certainly not Lincoln giving the Gettysburg Address. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, one thing that I have noticed, when Biden started, he was about 80% sane, I would say. Trump looked very, very well at the beginning, much better than Biden at the end. He looks like he's decaying, just like Biden,
Yeah, the white. He's starting to get the orange hair is gone. He's getting white hair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Shido's makeup.
Yeah. So it's, the age is starting to catch up with him.
Yeah.
Um,
Very fast.
but maybe that's lingering in his mind. He's got a legacy. He can really promote peace. Let's, he keeps threatening Iran, and yet, it appears that a deal with Iran is viable. Of course, the Saudis are despicable too. They really got the power to influence the United States, to get the United States to say, hey, you want a deal, you got to cut off of the military aid to Israel, and then we can talk. The U.S. won't do that. So Saudi said, until you do that, stay away. But no. So it's like a international prostitution convention.
With substances in a train.
Yeah.
Larry Johnson, my good friend, thank you very much. I think we're done.
Okay.
Do you think we forgot any very special subject for this week? I really thought Trump was the big subject of this week, actually.
Well, yeah, but we're going to see what happens with, again, with the negotiations in Ukraine, if that does come off. So that's Thursday.
Yeah, exactly.
That'll be another date, another benchmark we can look at and decide. Okay, is this for real or not?
Yeah, let's finger cross on that.
All right, my friend. Sorry for the interruption.
No worry. I had a lot of fun with that.
Okay. We'll
Thank you very much, Larry.
All right.
Hey, everybody, just remember to follow Larry on Sonar21. Like, share, and subscribe. Also, all the links on the description. See you guys on the next one. Ciao, man.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.